Attention pro athletes. Want to secure your financial legacy and thrive off the field? Oakbridge Wealth Management, led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, is your dedicated financial planning ally. But don't take it from me. Take it from the Dallas Cowboys' Tyler Biadasz. He says, Chris set goals financially and has been incredibly impactful in my journey in the NFL. Experience our customized, comprehensive approach, trusted by top NFL players. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakbridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakbridgeWM_ANICETE, and let Oakbridge Wealth Management guide you across the goal line.
Bernstein again, big opening, pass 5, pass 10, Perko's a man, and he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards out of
Welcome back to the Believe in Badgers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, presented by BetOnline.ag and Oakbridge Wealth Management. We are here at Squatfest with none other, the head man himself, Coach Luke Fickell. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, I don't want to say this, but it's about time you guys had me. I see all the clips and everything, and I think I might be the last guy on the staff to actually get invited.
We needed to wait to get you in person in this type of energy, which is something that I find is very special about you, is that you're really changing the culture in the energy level of what's going on. We had some of the defensive guys who were like, dude, have you ever seen this before? And I said, no. I talked to Tarek Saleh and I said, we had music.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
I want to remind you guys that we are presented by BetOnline.ag, where they continue to be your number one source for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it over there at BetOnline.ag. MLB season is in full swing. Still get some MLS. You get casino games, card games, whatever your style is, preseason bets, futures. It's there at BetOnline.ag. Head on over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today. Receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
So what's it about? Like, how did you come up with some of this stuff and like your energy level and being like, and I've seen you now at a bunch of different places in LA and New York. You're doing things that I don't think Wisconsin's ever seen. Where does that come from?
Well, I'm not the creative one, let's be honest. Like Coach Brady and I and those guys get together and you know, this is kind of one of their things to say, hey, we're going to work really, really, really hard, but we like to enjoy what it is that we're doing too. And so some of these days, it looks like it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. But these guys will have about an hour and 45 minutes of work. And I mean, it is a grind, but yet you watch at the end and they don't want to leave. And it's because it is about the energy. It is about the excitement. It's about doing things together. And that's where I think that whenever we talk about these things, Coach Brady and those guys, everything that they do, it's not just about the weight room. It's not just about bench press and squat, which they just got done doing. It's about how you do things together and the energy and how you can feed off of one another, because that's what a game is really about.
So when Brady comes to you and says, I want to do Squatfest and I want to do like these challenges at the end where the whole entire team's doing them, what's your thought process? So I'm sorry to cut you off. So nobody knows. They all lined up laying down, arms interlocked, and like basically held their heels off the ground 6 inches. And then we're moving around. It looked painfully hard. And these guys are all fighting for each other. So like when he comes to you and says that, like, what do you say?
Well, the third group is us afterward. Well, not us. You guys after. Anybody that's around here that gets the third group.
I don't want to go anywhere near Joe Thomas with any ab workout.
So, no, you know what? Everything that we try to do in the way, I mean, it's all about building that ability to do things together and that camaraderie, and that's rely upon each other. So when we talk about the finishers, my thing is, even from afar, I'm just like, whatever we do, let's find a way to make everybody have to do it together. The guy that just squatted 650 pounds to the guy that maybe is, over on a hip sled that can't do squats, it doesn't get involved, but they're all going to matter and they're all going to count and we're going to need every single one of them when we go. So it is, a fun thing. It is challenging more mentally and physically, but it really kind of deep down inside, it's say, hey, how do we do these things and kind of create this bond that guys won't let go altogether?
I mean, it's absolutely stunning to be here and see this. What's your take since taking the position, watching these guys in the weight room? I mean, we talked to Marty Stray, we had Gio on. Like, these guys have changed drastically physically.
Well, I mean, there's always different ways of doing things, and there's not like any one way is the only way and the perfect way. But I think more than anything, like I try to tell people, like we're going to be a little bit different, obviously defensively, but similar. We're going to be different offensively, but still similar. I think this is probably the area where we're as different as they've ever been here, and not that it's that much better. It's just, hey, this is the way we're going to do things, and we're going to challenge our guys not just to do them, but to embrace them. We're going to challenge our guys to whatever they're going to do it together. And it's not just on the football field, it's in basically everything they do. And so I think this is much of a challenge and something new to them. And that's what's been so exciting, is to see these guys kind of not just do it with energy, but really kind of embrace it and really kind of take ownership in everything that we've done.
Well, speaking of challenges, you've been here 7 months now. What do you think is the biggest challenge you've faced in the last 7 months, and how has that been for you? And what's been the biggest sort of positive surprise?
Well, I think the number one challenge for me walking the door was make sure I understand what is so special about this place and being able to embrace that. Because, you don't know it from afar. I mean, you think you do. But then when you get in here, you've got to have enough wherewithal. You've got to have enough self-awareness to say, okay, there are things that you believe to the core of your heart, but there's also things to the core here that have been phenomenal. And so the hardest thing is just making sure that I recognize all those things, getting as much input, not about what we do as a program, as a team, but from former guys, Coach Alva, just people to kind of let you know the special things that have been done here, so we can find ways to embrace those things, still evolve, and maybe adapt in some of the things that we think are really important. But to me, when you're taking over a team with a history, I think it's really important to make sure you recognize and understand what that is, so that you can find a way to move forward.
What you mentioned Coach Alvarez, who is my coach. What are some words of wisdom he's given you?
Well, I don't know that we've actually sat down one-on-one. We've talked on the phone a few times. We've been in these social settings, whether it's in Vegas or at the Big Ten meetings. And now that you bring that up, I don't know why I didn't invite him over here to this today and then try to go and sit down with him a little bit. But I think more than anything, it's just been be who you are, and not that he's one of those guys to say harp upon the past, but I think that more than anything, he's just said, look, this is your opportunity, this is your time. A lot like what maybe he did, is coming in and had to be himself and had to do things the way he wanted to do them. But in that, I also recognize, that there's a lot of incredible things that I want to make sure I understand as well. Not just read about them, know about them, but truly deeply understand about them. Because if I don't, then these guys who's coming into our program won't either.
So, Coach, You've come in 7 months, you've established a solid staff. We've talked to, as you say, pretty much everyone outside.
Exception to me.
I mean, we just needed a face-to-face with you. But what's it like to do that? And we literally have had the podcast going, and we've talked to everyone, seem like really outstanding leaders of men. And I feel like that's what you are as well. And I think you've said that's kind of one of your big things. What's it like to figure that all out and put those pieces in play?
Well, it's trying at first, because you have this idea and this vision of what it is that you want, and then the good fortune here is we have an opportunity to be able to go do that. When we did it before, we lost 2 or 3 good guys every year just because of the nature of the beast. But the reality is of being able to get a lot of those guys that we had in the past back together, understanding what it is that we're all about. It's a new face, it's a new logo, it's a new kind of culture and environment, but it's all about people. And those guys I know are special, deep people, and also great football coaches. But I think once we're starting this thing and we're trying to get, what is special here and these guys to believe in us, it's about the people that you bring in. So we've been very fortunate to do that. Obviously, even with some new guys, but there's a lot of things that we spend a lot of time doing, and we do them together as well. So we're the example. It's like I try to tell them. We're the example to what we want these guys to be. And if we can't do things together, if we can't kind of all be on the same page about what's important in our lives, about our families, about the things that we do, about how we do them, not just about winning football games, it'll be really hard to get it through to these guys as well.
You mentioned your family there, and I'm curious, when we saw your kids here today enjoying Squatfest, how is your family taken to Madison? How does your wife feel about the move? What has been the biggest challenges there, and how are you guys sort of overcoming that and dealing with it?
Well, I think the biggest challenges are kids, and the good fortune for us is we've got 2 sets of twins that came with us. The older ones, aren't going to be here because they're obviously into college, so at least they've got each other. Kind of the way they grew up, this is why they got to be here today, right? To see how you really got to work and see how the world really goes around. But I think for us in particular, it's kind of getting yourself embedded into the community. It's not just about our job. And I think that was what was special about why Madison. It was so much more than just football. It was so much more to our family being able to embrace Madison, enjoy Madison, have all the other things that we want to be able to have as a family. And I think the most difficult thing is probably on my wife, because where the boys have each other, she has me, but she doesn't have me that often, just with all that's going on. Sure. And so it's actually, she hollered at me today, right, about after I got done working out. I was in Squatfest, and she just wanted to know if I was having a good day. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I got my workout. I'm over here at Squatfest. She goes, good, because I just wanted to remind you, happy anniversary. And I said, yeah, I was waiting to see if you would remember.
That's a good comeback.
So nonetheless, today is my anniversary.
Happy anniversary,
That's why we had
Coach.
Squatfest on my anniversary. I wanted her
She
to.
didn't celebrate and put a couple
I know,
of
she should have
plates
came
on.
over here and done that as well. So
I will say, Coach's wife is one of the toughest jobs in the world.
So I would say the toughest thing is her uprooting, away from family, and being able to embrace herself, with the kids and all the things they do, and the connections around her of what's going to be really, really critical for us. And we've been fortunate so far to really be kind of embedded with some really good people.
Yeah, you haven't been here in the. Well, I guess you have been here in the
I'm in
winter.
winter.
So
They haven't.
They haven't.
came in just at the end after spring break.
So today's not such a great winter either, right?
No, I mean Columbus, Cincinnati,
Yeah, it's not-
anywhere in the Midwest, especially
It's pretty brutal.
where I've grown up.
So, Coach Wick, it's the summer. These guys are busting their butts. Coaches are working hard, game planning, coming up with what's going on for the season. How exciting is this time as a coach, as a staff?
Well, it's an emotional roller coaster. It's crazy that people would say, well, obviously the season is the most draining and the most, up and down. I'm like, no, not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. Winning and losing is ultimately what it's, what you're evaluated on, and that's the things that raises up and down. But the reality is, the season gets to be a routine. And as a coach myself, and a lot of our coaches, we're routine based, right? And you want to be in that routine. The unique thing about the summer is there is no routine. Like, there's recruiting, there's with your guys, there's a little bit of football you're allowed to do, then there's more recruiting, then there's ups, there's downs, and it's hard to get yourself, especially in year one, into that routine. And like I said, that's why it's so hard on my wife and the families in their first year, is just because once you get to the season, you kind of know what the routine is. Mm-hmm. And you know what Saturday is going to be about. And we understand the emotions of playing a game and wins and losses, but it's all the other things outside of the season that kind of connect back to recruiting and creating and building and sustaining your culture, that make it probably the roller coaster that makes the off season. There is no such thing as off season. Yeah. The summer season,
Right.
as difficult as it is.
Yeah.
Attention athletes. Do you want a frictionless and tailored financial planning experience to secure your future? Well, look no further. Introducing Oak Bridge Wealth Management, the premier financial planning firm for professional athletes. Led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, our team provides a unique and comprehensive approach, ensuring your financial success both on and off the field. We understand the unique challenges you face as a professional athlete, from managing cash flow habits to planning major business purchases and navigating complex contracts. That's why we've developed a proven process, working closely with our strategic partners to provide seamless solutions for your unique financial journey. Our services evolve with your career, offering short, mid, and long-term goal setting, portfolio optimization, real estate investments, and more. As you transition to life beyond the field, we support you with career development and philanthropic ventures. But don't just take our word for it. Top NFL players like Chase Boulier, Tyler Biadasz, Alec Ingold, and more trust Oak Bridge Wealth Management to guide them towards financial success. Troy Dye of the Minnesota Vikings says, I really love the work that Chris and the rest of the Oak Bridge group do. I especially like the honesty and transparency when it comes to setting up financial goals and plans that best fit my needs and situation. It's time to elevate your financial game plan. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakBridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakBridgeWM_ANICETE. And join the winning team.
So, I just one more question, Maddie. I'm sorry to cut you off, but just looking at this, how important is this? You mentioned recruiting. This has to be a huge interest for young people to come and, to even put this on. So the social media team already had this up when I looked at Instagram. How integral are they for like everything that goes on.
Well, I think that's the great thing about the social stuff now is you get to see what's inside a program. And that's what I want guys to do. I want guys to look. I want guys to make sure they're aware, because if this doesn't excite them, then it's probably not the right program for them. Like, we're going to do things wherever you think the normal is. We're trying about 6 steps ahead of that. And it's about the work. It's about the way you do it. It's about the energy you do it with. And so it looks fun. I want to remind us we're going to do it afterwards. There's a hell of a lot of work in this. But when you're working like that and you can enjoy it, that's what makes the game so special. That's what makes the summer season so special as well.
Yeah. So I was going to say, summer, you guys are going to Platteville. You guys are going back to camp. And now this guy here,
I'm so excited for
this guy here had camp at the seminary. And I don't know how much you've heard about the seminary.
Coach, did you go to camp like when you were playing?
No, we didn't. We went away. When I was coaching, we went away for a couple days, but we never really went away.
We did 18 days at this Catholic high school.
So
I say it's far away, but it's in Middleton. It's not very far.
So in Cincinnati, we went to a place the first year for like 8 days. And then from then on, we went for either from 20 to 25, 28 days.
That's a full month. Oh my God, I couldn't do it.
And we lived in a barracks basically, in a lodge, which was phenomenal. Freshmen lived in basically one big room, like the military, like big bunkhouses.
So my question is, like, what made you want to do that? Like, what made you want to, bring a proper away camp back to a program that hasn't had one for a while?
I think there's so many more things that you can do outside of football, and I just think your ability to be away, out of your comfort zone, is really unique. It's as much as we can. It's 24/7 football, meaning you don't go back and pop on your Netflix. Don't go back and maybe even see your girlfriend or what. It's like, look, if we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this together, we got to find some other ways to manufacture times where we're going to be together. And I think when you're away, you grow even more. So there's a lot of things that go along with it. We're only going to do it 8 days. I would much rather be for longer and longer, which we'll continue to try to see if we can do that. But I think, it'll be tough on guys. But guess what? This is a really tough football game. And when it comes down to it at the end of the year, it's not about who's got the best players. It's got who's got the ability to stay together, who's got the ability to sustain and grow throughout that season, where we all know it's a roller coaster, it's emotional, there's ups, there's downs, there's injuries. And the teams that get better throughout the year because they're built the right way, I just think it's a big part of us continue to grow as a program and a team.
Listen, when I saw that, I was extremely excited. I think more for the guys because it really brings the camaraderie to a whole new level. You're not just disappearing. That's like the NFL. Like you go, and in college it's a little bit more, but when you go to camp and you have no cell phone and you don't have a TV, there's only so much you could do. And I just love that you're doing that because I think you're going to build that camaraderie already being built, but it's going to be in a different level. And you're going to see guys who on game one, to me, that's like the most exciting thing is the games. As an ex-player, like, watching guys dominate, and I think you're building that, which is so cool.
And that's what everybody gets to see the Saturdays. They don't always get to see these days. They don't always get to see what camp is really like, because no matter where you are in camp, it's a grind. And I think the unique thing is when you stay on campus and you say, hey, we're going to treat you like a pro. We're going to have camp. We're going to get you out of here at 7:30, or, go home. I want you to go to bed. That's great.
Right.
Because they are pros in some ways, but we try to tell them we don't treat you like a pro. We're going to train you to be a pro. And sometimes that means we're going to have to do things a little bit different. We're going to have a greater expectation on you, whether it's how we train, how we live, what it is we do on a daily basis. It's a little bit more routine based so that we can say, hey, when you walk out of here, you know what it's like to train at the highest level and to do things at a different level. Go be a pro now.
Yep.
Because ultimately when you don't do things right, they just get rid of you.
Right.
Our job is to develop you. So I think it's a little bit different.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Any insights on if it's secret, don't tell us. But besides not having cell phones, anything else that is going on?
No, I don't know. We've all kind of talked about different things we would do there, and I think the thing that we got unique was we did it at Cincinnati. It was a lot of things just became organic. They were like, hey, what time's bed check? And I'm like, there's no bed check. Well, what time the lights out? There are no lights out. If we aren't wearing them out, if they don't understand what the expectation is, then we got a bigger problem. So we're in a situation, we're in a place, we're all walking away, we're all kind of getting out of our comfort zones, and they looked at me at times and be like, well, Coach, these beds aren't very good. I go, well, I sleep on the same bed that you sleep in. Right?
Yep.
That maybe that little mildew that's in here, that wet, moist, when you come back, like
That's in my room too.
Don't worry. I got a nice house, and I got a really nice bed at home, but we're all doing this together. So I think a lot of those things just, hopefully, they'll go a long way. And not saying they're going to win you every game, but the ability to kind of do things together will give you.
You're also like, a lot of my guys are back here today to watch this. I think having that experience just makes that brotherhood, though. I think we would all say we want that.
Yeah.
And I think those guys want it. I mean, it's an experience you can't, unlike anywhere else you go. It's not soccer camp. It's not volleyball camp. It is literally football camp. It's a grind. It sucks for the amount of days. But when you come out of it, you have 75 brothers, 100 brothers, and it's completely bananas. So I know we running out of time, Coach. What are you super excited for this season?
Well, I think just to see how things all come together. And I mean that meaning, like, how do guys really do things together? Because we had a meeting the other day, and I'm saying, like, look, I mean, if we're 80% aligned, if we are working at our 80% of our maximum capacity, like, I don't know what that's going to get us, right? But if you were a betting man, would you want to roll the dice at 80%, or do you want to roll the dice at 100%? And that's where I'm challenging. I'm like, look, I want every guy in this room to be in their arrows pointed in the same direction. We all have a human element to us. We all have, selfish things that we need. But if we're going to do this and we're going to do it together, we all got to be pointing in the right direction. And if we can get that, it's going to give us a hell of a lot better opportunity and chance to do what it is we want to do, to play for a championship. If we don't, we're rolling the dice at 85%. So my big thing is, how good are we? How fast are we? Those things will figure themselves out. How well can we do things together when adversity strikes? Because that's what this day is really about. Sure. It's fun, the squats. Now this last 45 minutes to an hour is all about how do we create more adversity to see if you can continue to do things together. Who encourages the other guy? Mm-hmm. Do you think you can just do this all on your own and just kind of put your blinders up and say, I'm tough, I can do it? Like, no, that's not the way games of football are won. Mm-hmm. So to me, the greatest thing I want to be able to say is, how does this all come together? What happens when we actually get punched in the face? Maybe at halftime you're down. Maybe, who knows what it is. But how do we handle it, and how do we work together?
It's really exciting. Later. At least for me to see who those guys are, just standing, outside of reading the paper, you have Marty Strait down here. He's a 6th-year guy who's just getting people fired up. You see the entire team around Braylon getting him jacked up. You see him not doing 3 reps, saying, I'm going to do another one at an absurd amount of weight that I can't even add up. Who else has kind of taken over some of these, even if they're not guys who are going to play a lot? Like Marty's like, I just want to see the field, but if I don't, I want to be a leader here. That's special, and that to me is the Wisconsin culture. Are there any other guys kind of taking that role? We had Gio up here. It seems like he is.
Well, there's guys that have been here, and I think the Tanner Bordolinis and Jack Nelsons, those offensive line guys, Riley Mallman, Furton. I mean, those guys that are core at who we are and have been here for a long time. Those are the guys, but it's unique to see some of these new guys. And I don't always want to talk about the quarterback, but the reality is the quarterback is a multiplier, right? Whatever you've got as a quarterback, if he's a great leader and he's a great team guy, like, he multiplies whatever his ability is and whatever the ability of the team is. And I'm happy. Tanner has walked in here, Mordecai has walked in here and just kind of embraced all things Wisconsin. I mean, the way he's done it, he's watched, he's observed. Me and him, we talk about this, like, we're on the same path. Like, there's amazing things that have been done here. There's amazing culture. Like, we've got to recognize that together, embrace it. And he's done as good a job of that as I can say. And I know he's been through it, as he's been to a couple places where he's had to have this experience before. But he's a guy that you're like, wow. Some of these guys that have come in, the Will Paulings, who have just kind of embraced things and been an example, not caring where they come from, or what I did before. That's what I think is unique. The guys that have been here, they're great. Marty's, the offensive line in particular, Rodas, John, those. But I think it's always interesting when you bring in new people like me, like our coaches, and like Tanner and some of those guys. Well, how does that whole thing come together? Right. Do they really embrace all things Wisconsin?
And mix with the guys that have been here for 6
because what wins?
Plus years. Yeah. Right.
Players win games, but teams win championships. That's going to kind of be a thing you're going to hear from us consistently this year. Like, we got enough players to win games, guys. Do we have a team to win a championship? It's all that we're
I'll tell you, from an outsider's perspective, the amount of guys you have is so exciting. It's not something we've seen in the past. We have guys coming from, 2 years out who are saying yes to Wisconsin and are excited about it. And you look at some of the boards, and Wisconsin's there. And that is not typical. And I think that's due to you and the coaching staff and Brady and days like this and embracing the alumni, which I think is special, and I appreciate it. So thank you for having us.
I told you, you've heard me. If there's anybody that I want to make proud, okay, not the fans, yes, the universe, but like former players to me are where it is. And just because of what it is that they've went through, what it is that they've done to give us this opportunity to be where we are. And so for those guys to accept an outsider, look at us, embrace us, recognize that we care not just about them, but about what it is that they've done and how they've done it, and want to grow what they've done, and create and continue to build a legacy is what's really probably drives me as much as anything.
No, it's very exciting.
It's very exciting, absolutely. Yeah. So, okay, we're going to get you out of here on this. We've been doing a bunch of questions from a hat.
Uh-oh.
We're going to make you do one question from the hat.
Wait, we've had a ton of people not know this question.
The number one question so far has been, what do you think is on Coach Fick's playlist? So, Coach, what is on your playlist?
Well, I'm not gonna, my wife, Joe's my anniversary today, right? So my wife just sent me a playlist, and she said she wanted me to listen to it. So that is not my playlist. So I'm not gonna do that one. But let's see here. Well, we've got a workout regiment. You know, where we kind of go with the Beastie Boys and a little Red Hot Chili Peppers and some Metallica.
Whoa!
You know, and
these guys said classic rock. A lot of them
everyone said classic rock.
And then you go back and you go with the good old fashioned country. Yeah.
So 90s country, the good country.
The good country.
Yeah.
Not the real deep cut. Like I'm a main stage or pop country. I don't know whatever people call it.
Main stage.
Some of these guys will tell you that's not real country, Coach. That's like beach music. I'm like, well, I do enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that they all got it wrong. So,
it's amazing
you got to keep them guessing on exactly
you really
who
do.
really are.
Because some of them are like, oh, we've been in there. It's been classic rock when Coach has been in there. All right.
Now you get to pick a real one.
Now you get to pick a real one.
So out of our Oak Ridge Wealth Management hat.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's another one.
I don't think I can say that.
Off the field, Coach Fick is blank. He can't say that.
Yeah,
we have to
well,
let the
at least
guys
that's what my wife,
living his
that's what
best
my wife
life.
would say.
We want to get her on the podcast. She's someone I want to talk to.
Right for, it's all about music.
It's all about music. Hold on. We're going to pull up. Okay. No.
Actually, my favorite one. It's the apocalypse. What three guys do you want?
The zombie
With
apocalypse
you.
is coming. What three guys are you teaming up with
That's
to
a hard one to say,
survive?
but I go over. So I go over and I watch you guys aren't even seeing this. The group over there in the back corner where they've got the punching bags on the ground, and I just look to see who swings to hurt and then who swings to like hit. And the guys that swing to hurt, those are the guys that are going with me. So if you didn't see Moy back there, if you didn't see Jace Matry, I mean, those are two guys that I'm like, oh boy, those guys swing to hurt. And so in my mind, you know, I'm not saying, you didn't tell me where we were going.
No, you're just surviving.
To survive the zombie apocalypse, who do you want?
I'm going with those two guys with me for sure. And then I probably got to put somebody cerebral to help us out, you know, and try to put it all together.
Great
right?
question.
I mean, those guys are going to swing, but now we got to have somebody that's got the brains to kind of put it together. And
See, the number one answer has been CJ Getz because of his outdoorsman abilities.
So I don't know all that about people.
Yeah.
You know?
He said even
I think I can survive. I want the people that are when they get there. I don't care about the outdoor. I want the people when they get there, they're going to be swinging and not trying to outrun them because I sure as hell can't outrun them. I promise you that.
You need someone who's slower than you. Somebody said that CJ is harpoons. I didn't even know that was a word. Like I did, but like somebody did that. So CJ. You're on me too. Coach, listen, thank you so much. We wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate it, man.
It's really a pleasure.
Thank you
so
much,
for jumping
Coach.
on.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for finally having me.
Well, we're going to have you back. Absolutely.
All right.
We definitely will.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Oh, man.